continue to inform you and get you ready for this. Is get you ready to do this the storyboard, right, for your commercial. Second thing we're going to do is specifically, is it Josh up there in the corner? Yeah, he had some questions about script formatting, and we're going to go over that a little bit here. But also, whenever you format a single column script, which is, first we're going to talk about storyboards, we're going to briefly talk about split page format, but then we're going to talk about single column format, which is a format that's used in TV and movies. And we're going to briefly talk about that. But I would always say that what I do to format that kind of thing is I look at scripts, and I mentioned two of my favorites are Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing. I have scripts of that. I can also look at scripts, movie scripts, on a Google search. It's amazing what we can find, what we can get. And then the third thing we're going to do is I asked you to read the chapter on public relations today. Did I not? And do I expect that you read that? Okay, great. I appreciate you looking at it because probably there's going to be some things in there that I'm going to be unable to cover. But first of all, we're talking about, what is this called? Storyboard. We have a picture, and to the side we have description. Can you zoom in on that description a little bit? Just click on it. Just click on it. Take your cursor. There you go. What we have is, what does the audience see? What does the audience hear? And what are directions given to the crew or the talent? And again, the talent is who? The actors, if you will. So what we see is initially we see CU, which denotes what? Close-up. We've got a close-up. On the first time we introduce a character, we use uppercase, and it's neither here nor there, but you see that Jules Winfield, and then you see even here we have italics, which denotes that these are some kind of direction. Stares at us and drives car on the scene to Vincent. First time we mentioned Vincent Vega. Chatter. Then, what is the next thing we have? Nat sound. Always think about, write this down, always think about what does the audience see and what do they hear. That's the copy you're going to want for each one of those pictures, right? What does the audience see and what do they hear? Here we're denoting, there's some natural sound. It says, what kind of car is it? It's a classic, whatever it is. It's tip-top, man, as far as I know. Adam, do you know what kind of car it is?
I was just thinking because
a Malibu?
In the script he says that it's an old clunker, but when they actually shot it, it's a nice-ass car.
Yeah, man, it's like a 73, 74 Malibu or something. Anyways, the car low rumbles under the car. It's not like the Prius where the visually impaired can't hear it. You can hear this car. Then we have voiceover, which denotes what? Right, and I would say off-screen, actually, is what I would say, is off-screen, because Vincent's sitting next to him. Did you ever see that show, Cops? I was watching it one time. Now, here what we have is upper and lowercase, not italics, which denotes what? They're speaking, that's right. This is what the talent needs to say. Then, once again, we have Jules, and he's going to keep it all caps here, which is fine with me. I think it might increase clarity to know that this is particularly for Jules. He moves his hand thoughtfully to the face. Go to the next, well, you can pull back up, go to the next slide. And there was this guy on Cops, and he didn't hit nothing. And then it goes over to Vincent. Vincent Vega, talking intently to Jules. Natural sound, it continues under, obviously. We still hear the rumbling of the car, right? And he says, Vincent Vega, okay, it shouldn't be VO, actually, because Vincent is now on screen, right? Pull back for a second. Pull back, it's Vincent Vega. It shouldn't say VO there. It should say Vincent Vega. Okay, I mean, it was just him and this guy. I mean, it's freaky when it happens. Go to the next slide. And then Jules, close up, immediately ready to retort, switching between Vincent and the road. He's kind of working back and forth. Natural sound continues under VO. It shouldn't say VO there, because who are we looking at? Jules. So it just close up on Jules, shouldn't it? It did. I don't know why it says voiceover. Look, you want to play blind man, go walk with the shepherds. Me and my eyes are wide open, right? Okay, you guys get the point? Do you get the point that what we're showing our client is what they're going to see in the picture, and then we're describing to everybody involved with the production what is heard and what is seen. Does that make sense? Why do we want to do that? What does it increase for everyone? Clarity. And what is the most important thing in writing mass media? Clarity. Yes, ma'am. Question.
With an example in the book, the italics that's like explaining what's going on in the scene is all capitalized. Do you want it to be all capitalized or does it matter?
I say that different people are going to do it it different ways. Whatever you think is most clear. Do you have a comment about that, the two gentlemen at the front?
What was the question?
The question was in directions, which is italics. I mean, the example, one of the examples of the book, it's in all caps. Here, it's upper and lower case.
As long as it's italics, I don't think it matters whether it's in upper or lower case.
Okay.
So there's your boss right there. He just told you. Very good question. And if you have that question, other people have the question. And I value that immensely. So, now, Jules, you want to play blind man? Okay, go to the next slide. Vincent's annoyed. It's close up on him. You know, he's like, what do you mean? And Jules is like, yeah, that's it for me. From now on, you can count me retired. Go ahead to the next slide. And he turns around. Vincent does. He gets, he's crying. Don't blaspheme. And then again, he blasphemes again. Go to the next slide. Notice that the slide is numbered. Do you see that? Number your slides and number your pages. Why? Very good. Clarity. Everybody knows. Look at cell 10. Damn. We're there. Together. Right? Vincent, Marvin, what do you make of this? He turns around. Man, Marvin's in the back. And we kind of see him in the back. Man, I don't even know. Next slide. Vincent turns around full, and he's like, well, you gotta have an opinion. I mean, you think God came down from heaven and stopped? And then, what do we hear? Natural sound. Blam. Bam. Vincent's gun goes off. Oh, man! Ah! Right? And so we see the car, and there's blood all over the back. Go to the next slide. Man, what is happening, man? I'm scared, man. I think I struck Marvin in the face, right? Well, why would you do that? I didn't mean to. You know, and he says, what? I've seen some crazy stuff in my time, but I've never seen this. Chill out, man. I told you it was an accident. Go to the next one. You must have hit a bump or something. Let's look at this sequence for a second. Let me shut off the lights. And let's see how it actually plays out on the screen. Okay? And see if these are somewhat accurate or not. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's see it. So, you guys get the point here? Do you think it was pretty accurate? What's the key thing? Now, the art isn't important, but if you're going to do a close-up on a stick figure, give us a close-up on the stick figure, right? And then, when we talk about copy, what is in the copy? Come on. The copy is the printed stuff. What's there?
What's going on in the scene?
Description. Very good. Whatever we hear, and then descriptions of whatever we see. Is that correct? Now, I think I tried to do it. I want to make sure that we all got the takeaway. In 10 years, you're running a little PR firm in Pittsburgh, and you got the account for Goodyear tires, and you're looking over an ad, and you're going to think about 3 big things about your ad when these guys that are working for you, these women that are working for you, that wrote the ad, they look at it, you're going to think of 3 things. What are they? Does this ad first what? Tell us a story. Secondly, we talked about before, we're thinking about what kind of considerations? Which include what? Pace.
Unity.
Variety. Unity. Climax, which leads right back to story, right? And then the third and final thing that I can't emphasize enough, and I didn't talk about Monday, and I feel remiss. And the other thing we're considering is what? Somebody raise your hand. Yes. Characteristics of quality writing. Which the most important, you quote me on this one. The most important characteristic of quality writing is what? Clarity. Very good. And then what else? That it be concise. Because how many seconds do you got for this ad? And you can't go 32. It just doesn't happen in life. Otherwise, you're bumping into other commercials. We're not going to get back to the Bears game in time for the hype. Right? So it's got to be thinking along these lines. Cool. And for you people in the dock, I want you guys to work together and write a primo treatment for the hairstyle. Okay? Cool? All right. When it comes to writing an actual script, and for documentaries or for films and TV shows, we're going to use single camera layout. What we're using is a master scene approach as opposed to a shot by shot. Put master scene, write down master scene for VS, shot by shot, and then circle master or bold master scene. The difference here is that when we write, we're not directing it. Whose job is it to decide where the camera's going to be? Director. We do not want to tell the director what to do. Otherwise, they will laugh at us, and then we'll have somebody else to do the next revision of the script for us. We don't want that. We want the $75,000 we're going to pay, between $75,000 and $150,000, to write the next version. Okay? So we're going to use a master scene approach, which is talking about what the audience sees. What the audience sees, not what? Not camera directions. Let the director with the cinematographer, the videographer work out what the camera's going to do. Okay? So you write what to shoot, not how to shoot it. That's the essence here. Let Ang Lee decide how to shoot the life of Pi. All right? He'll decide where to put the camera. All right? So what we see, not what the camera does. And script is a map. It's a set of guidelines, okay? And invariably, they're going to cut away from it. I mean, the man who just killed himself, unfortunately, that made Top Gun, Mr. Tony Scott. Tarantino wrote a script for True Romance, and Tony Scott just changed the whole ending. He didn't even ask Tony Scott. I guess at the point at which Tony Scott paid Tarantino $180,000 for that script, Tarantino gave up his right to decide how it ended. Do you guys get that? So all we're doing is making suggestions for the director. I mean, I just read Adventures in Screenwriting by William Goldman, who wrote, he won Academy Awards for Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid and All the President's Men. And all he does is complain for 400 pages about how the writer gets no respect while he's getting paid millions of dollars. You know, the poor guy. I feel sorry for him, really. Like I do Jennifer Love Hewitt, you know. It must be rough. Okay, so you guys get the point here of what we're focusing on in a single camera layout. Ready? Go to the next slide. Preliminary pages. This is just a title page. Somebody emailed me. I very much appreciate who emailed me about a title page. Yeah, man, just put a title page. Put the name of the thing, your name, and the date that you last revised it. Okay? I mean, I think it's a good idea. You're going to want that. I mean, we usually do hand them in without cover pages, but if I was doing this professionally, I'd have a cover page. All right? So you just essentials, the titles, the writer's name, the date of the last revision. And then if we're talking about a film or a TV series, you're also going to put the series name, the episode number, maybe the names of the producers and directors. But you don't know that. But let's look at some examples. Yep. Go ahead. Yep. Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery. And they have that pulp, their definition of pulp, which is the opening, isn't it the opening CG or font that we see on the screen? What's another example? The Social Network, screenplay by Aaron Sorkin, won the Academy Award for it, based on the book The Accidental Billionaires by Ben Mesrich. Okay. Another example, Breaking Bad by Vince Gilligan. AMC. Man, I was trying to use your guys' free TV, how to watch it online, but I didn't want to pay. Then I realized that Son of Anarchy was on at 9:30. It must be on at 10:32. Who's watching Sons of Anarchy? Yeah, man, this show rock or what?
There's one more left for the season now.
What's that?
We only have one more left.
Do we really?
Season now is Tuesday.
Okay. Sean Furlong going to go to Ireland? Jess isn't going to get a chance to go, is he? And Jenna's not going to go. She's got the new book, History and Hookup. Anyways, I digress. I like my drama, as you do too. We all have our favorite TV shows, right? I never watch TV, but man, some reason Tuesday night, because I'm supposed to be writing my screenplay about Francis, I was like, I want to watch some TV. Yeah, right. But Breaking Bad's another great one. I started looking for episodes, and then I had to pay $2 per episode, and I was like, wait, isn't Son of Anarchy on now? That's free. I had to watch commercials. What are you going to do? Let's continue. Let's look at, I think we're going to look at an example. Well, secondary pages. These are, we don't even want these. It looks like a treatment, characters, attributes, but none of that stuff is important. So we don't really need that. That's in your treatment. We already talked about what treatment is, right? Go to the next slide. Scripting terms. I would go light on these, right? And they're in the book, are they not? These are in the book, right?
Yes.
I mean, I know. I spent time putting them in there. Angle on it. Suggest the focus of the shot. You don't need to know all this stuff, okay? And look at the book if you want to use it, okay, Josh? But this is almost stepping over the bounds of telling the director what to do. Favoring suggested person or object in the forefront. Wide shot, we know what that is, don't we? We talked about it weeks ago. You might suggest that. You might not. I don't. I just talk about what the audience sees. A large cathedral filled with people. That denotes a long shot, I think. Go ahead. Go up. Point of view suggests that we're looking at a character's literal point of view. And Adam and I are going to write a found footage documentary, or found footage film about some young guys that want to make a movie about robbing a bank. So they rob a bank to try to raise the money to make their film about robbing a bank, and they videotape themselves in the meantime. And a lot of it's going to be point of view, isn't it? Because it's all going to be found footage, which means the car is destroyed, the guys are dead, but the cops find the tape, right? Like in Paranormal, right? So anyways, a lot of that's going to be point of view. Over the shoulder, we saw some over the shoulder in that scene we just looked at. I mean, this just denotes sometimes, it's kind of like a point of view, but you can see that, like, the side of the person's head, okay? Close up, or close shot, you know what that is, right? Hold back, go up, please. A two-shot is two separate shots consecutively implying a relationship. Don't even use these terms in your film. Just tell us what we see, okay? Cool? All right. Let's look at the example. Come on, I want to see the example. All right. Interior coffee shop. This is when Ringo and crazy funny bunny, honey bunny, what? They're sitting there getting ready to rob the place, right? Although we haven't gotten the end yet to see how it all comes together, have we? But is this the very first shot?
Yeah, they saw this one.
Okay, great. So it's a normal Denny's firelight. First, Josh, you see interior coffee shop morning. That is the scene description, okay? The setting of the scene, okay? See that? Then, and it's all capped, that first line. That's a scene heading or a slug. Interior coffee shop morning, all caps. Then we have description, which is a setting time of a scene, normal Denny's Fireside Coffee House in Los Angeles, right? Upper and lower case. What are we seeing? He's not telling us what the camera's doing here, is he? He's just telling us what we see. Go to the next paragraph. There's more stuff. Those two people are a young man, which is all caps, the first time we introduce him. Why do we have it in all caps the first time we introduce him? Very good, clarity. That's always the answer, right? But it's clear to, like, casting and to the actors who we need here on that day. And then later on, when they do production schedules and the such, it'll be easier for them to go, oh, who needs to be here in the casting call, right? There's a young man and a young woman. The young man is slight. You see all that scene description? You see that? It goes all the way from one margin to the other. There it is, upper and lower case. Then, down, young man is centered. And young man for dialogue. You see, it denotes what? Who's about to speak. And notice then the next line is not centered, but it certainly has truncated margins. No, forget it. It's too risky. I'm through doing all that stuff. Young woman, you always said that at the same time every day. Never again. I'm through. It's too dangerous. The truncated margins denote dialogue. Why do you use truncated margins to denote dialogue? Very good. Why do you think that's clear?
So it looks different than the description?
That's right. Because it's easier to read that way. And I hate to tell you guys this, but producers come home with 5 scripts a weekend. And they're supposed to go through them. Sunday night, during the game, during the commercials, they're looking. And they're trying to find the easiest read they can. That's why they're going to go through the 98-page script rather than the 36. Actually, if they feel 36, they're just going to not even read it. Just give it to an assistant to read. But this white space, and because of this formatting, it makes it easier to read. Here's the thing. If you want to write something, use a script writing format like Easy News. I use something called Final Draft. Celtics, CELTX. It lays it out for you in this format, right?
If you were going to try and write this on a Word document, it would be a huge pain in the ass, and you wouldn't get past page 2. It's important that if you were starting out and you want to write something like this, that you use Celtics. It's free and it's really easy to use.
I don't know why well, they gave, for one of the prizes for the awards, they gave me the newest version of Final Draft. I use Final Draft It's a little more advanced for something. So it's the same thing. It lays it out for you, okay? And again, like I said, when I first started, I had to use Microsoft Word. There were no programs back in the old days. And I just took out a script, and I would do, Spike does all caps, interior. And I would do exactly what he did. I just got an email this morning that there's now final draft for the iPad. $49.99. Yeah, it's something for me to think about. I don't know if it's good for iPad 1, whatever. It doesn't matter. It makes life easier. It's easier to haul my stuff around from this place to that one, right? You guys get the point? And you're learning about this in lab, are you not? Okay, great. So if you're in the TV show, an episode of a pre-existing TV show, have a treatment, and then give us some sample pages, right? Of the first 8 minutes. Yes, ma'am?
If we do the TV show, do we need to do it like the season that it's in right now and like add on to it, or can we just like do our own episode?
I would prefer you do your own episode.
Okay.
Okay? Or a new TV show. Yes, sir?
In the last slide, it said names. Is that just the list of the characters?
Yeah. At the end of my treatment for the film I'm currently working on, I have an extended description of the main characters. Who they are, what their education is. Because, don't you get a sense that Jules and Vincent have a history? Deep. And that's one of the coolest things Tarantino does. He knows those characters so deep. I mean, you guys probably don't even realize that Vincent may be Mr. Bond's brother.
He is.
Okay, well, anybody know who Mr. Blonde is? Yeah, he's the guy that goes nuts and cuts the guy's ear off. Well, he may be Vincent's brother. But Tarantino knows that because he did all this exploration into characters' work before he started to write. And here's the cool thing about drama. Once you know your characters so good because you've done all that research about who they are, when you actually type a dialogue, you don't even have to think about what they're going to say. They just say what they would say. It's magic.